This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Good evening and welcome to the News at 7. I'm Rafael Sanchez. Tonight, a new development in one local school's fight with the Archdiocese of Indianapolis, coming all the way from the Vatican. A Vatican office has temporarily suspended the decision of the Archdiocese of Indianapolis to no longer recognize Brebeuf Jesuit Preparatory School as a Catholic institution. The Archdiocese, as you may recall, originally cut ties with Brebeuf because the school refused to fire a teacher who's in a same-sex marriage. The school reached out to the Vatican's Congregation for Catholic Education in Rome to set aside the Archbishop's decree. This still awaits a final decision from the Vatican, but in the meantime, the school can take part in normal sacramental celebrations like Mass for the feast day of St. Jean de Brebeuf on October the 24th. Safety questions tonight in downtown Indianapolis after a violent weekend. 6 people were shot Saturday night near Circle Center Mall. 3 teenagers and 3 adults. Police are still searching for the person of interest you see right there. Meanwhile, the captain of IMPD's downtown district says they're going to revisit their patrols and shift resources like mobile cameras to keep an eye on unaccompanied minors. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we're talking live to the president of the Fraternal Order of Police to get his take on this weekend's violence. He had a lot to say on Twitter about what he calls a lack of outrage from those in power. What he has to say coming up in just a few minutes. And right now, we're taking you above the city, looking out from our RTV6 tower cam. There is our window to the world, our window to Indianapolis. The heat is taking a slight vacation as our guy is back from vacation. Welcome back to RTV6's Kevin Gregory. Hey, Kevin.
And summer vacation is over, right? We've officially welcomed fall. That happened while you were sleeping this morning. I think 3:24, something like that, a.m. It feels like fall as well. Speaking of falling, we had some rain overnight. A few puddles as evidence of that overnight rain. It's only the second time this entire month that we've had measurable rainfall. It was less than 0.4 of an inch in Indy. Notice the green canopy of trees. That will surely change here over the next couple of weeks as we get some cooler nights. 72 in Frankfort, now 2 degrees cooler up in Cass County and Logansport. Temperatures to the south still a little above our average high for this time of year, which is 74 degrees, but feels more like September certainly. Temperatures through the evening hours with the sun setting here shortly at 7:41. We'll be down to 62 at 11 o'clock. A refreshing start tomorrow morning. Temperatures will be mid-50s. I think some outlying areas even lower 50s. We'll talk about the temperature trend for the rest of the week coming up.
Kevin, thank you so much. The Marion County prosecutor is stepping down to focus his fight against advanced prostate cancer. An emotional Terry Curry made that announcement before news cameras this afternoon in Indianapolis. In that room, his family, members of his office, as well as members of county law enforcement, and the parents of David Moore, whose son was killed in the line of duty back in 2011. Curry, who has been battling an advanced prostate cancer, decided it was time to step aside from his high-profile position.
I am still upbeat about my treatment and my health going forward, but kind of where I am with that treatment and for a number of considerations, it's made it necessary that I scale back my professional commitments and focus on my health and family.
Curry's tenure in office will be remembered for a number of things, including 2 of the biggest and most sensational criminal cases in the state of Indiana. The biggest, the convictions of the people behind the 2012 fatal South Side explosion in the Richmond Hill subdivision, which required trials in South Bend and Fort Wayne. And then in 2013, the other big case was the conviction of former Metro Police Officer David Bassard, who was intoxicated at the time he killed a motorcyclist. Curry came into office in 2010, re-elected in 2014 and again in 2018. And prior to that, he was a deputy prosecutor for 6 years. Now, Curry runs an office of nearly 400 people. As part of his job, he also spent the last couple of years sharing with civic groups the depth of how his office managed the multiple trials involved in that South Side explosion. That incident happened in November 2012, but the trials were not heard until 2015 and 2016. It involved thousands of pieces of evidence and required the shuttling of dozens of witnesses and experts to testify both in St. Joseph and Allen counties. Now at 7, October 2020 may seem far away, but as that saying goes, time flies, and you may need to get a new kind of ID card if you want to be able to fly anytime, anywhere next year. After next year, that is. Today, the TSA and BMV joined forces at Indianapolis International Airport to boost public awareness on what's being called Real ID. In over a year, you must have an upgraded real driver's license or ID card, or you won't be allowed to board commercial planes or even enter certain federal buildings. Now, here's how you can tell if you really have a real ID card. Your license will have a star in the upper right-hand corner.
You're not required. I think that's first and foremost really important to let folks know. It's not a requirement in the state of Indiana. Other states have chosen to require it. We do not. But I think it's also important for folks to know that there is going to be restricted access to certain things if you don't have that. The most common one, the reason why we're in this building, is obviously flying. So October 1st of 2020, if you don't have that real ID, you're not going to be able to board an aircraft.
Again, check your driver's license. If you have a star in the upper right corner, then you already have the real ID. If you don't, go to your local BMV branch and ask them for some questions on that. It was such an intense impact that was made to this building. It just crumbled, as you can see, right to the ground. Fire crews there at 22nd and College told us it was pretty incredible that people could walk away from something like this. Quite a mess. Investigators say just before noon, a truck and a vehicle slammed into that two-story structure at the busy intersection on the north side of Indianapolis. There were 5 people in the truck and 1 person in that car. Now, one of those in the truck had to go to the hospital, but is expected to survive. The Indianapolis Fire Department, they used dogs to search inside the building just in case anyone was trapped. The city says the building appears to have been vacant for some time. Now they have to decide whether to demolish that structure. The Howard County Sheriff's Office is making some changes after several inmates died by suicide this year. Call 6 Investigates' Kara Kenny has been trying to hold leaders accountable since March and finally got some answers. We've talked with family members who say the jail could have done more to protect their loved ones. Latasha King and Sarah Castile died back in March. Casey Roadbrook died on September the 18th. All 3 were inmates in the Howard County Jail there in Kokomo. Keep in mind, the state of Indiana typically has about 8 to 12 suicides for the entire state in a year. We've asked the Howard County Sheriff's Department for a copy of their suicide prevention policy. We have not received that yet. However, the sheriff says they've implemented several changes, including they've created signage in each housing unit that is a free hotline to reach a mental health advocate. They've adjusted their shift change procedure to create more officer-inmate contact, and they will begin implementing a crisis intervention team training for all medical personnel and correctional supervisors. And lastly, they contracted with a full-time mental health specialist who started this month. Hiring Hoosiers is RTV6's initiative focused, as you know, on training resources and, of course, jobs. Colts fans certainly had a fun Sunday with the win over the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe your child won't be a pro athlete, but that does not mean that they won't be able to take the living on the field of play. Today in Hiring Hoosiers, our Erin Lish shows us a program for high school students on how they can become involved in a field that provides vital help to all athletes.
The high impact, intense Friday nights for football, cramping. I deal with all of it.
Kylie Tuttle takes her athletic training and exercise skills from Central 9's Career Center to the Greenwood football field.
I think of it as the things I love to do. It's pretty much not a job to me. It's what I love, so it's just fun.
Students gain lab experience in the field and study health, fitness, wellness, and sport in the classroom, getting them ready for careers in physical therapy and athletic training.
Evidence-based practice, is a huge thing nowadays to implement, with their patients, and they'll already have that foundation.
While playing soccer for Franklin Central, Max Catlow got hurt and needed physical therapy.
So I ended up going in for a hip and left knee injury.
That's where he found something more than help with his injuries.
First day I went in, I kind of fell in love with the program and fell in love with the idea of being able to help others, not even for the idea of money, but for the idea of making sure that others can have the same life that you wish you could have.
And with every ankle wrap and crutch fitting they make, they're finding the importance of fitness for their patient to get them back to 100%. physically and mentally.
When you join that role, how they helped you and you can go help others, it's just amazing.
Working for you in Greenwood, Aaron Lish, RTV6.
Coming up next on the news at 7, the top prosecutor in Indy has resigned as he battles prostate cancer. Ahead, we'll discuss the disease and what you need to know about it for a checkup. But first, let's check in your forecast with Kevin Gregory.
And we're in a state of perfection right now. We'll talk about our increasing chance for rain. It's not overwhelming, but we've got a couple opportunities ahead starting midweek. RTV6 is working for you.
This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Tonight, it's the tweet putting all politicians on notice, or as the kids say, on blast. The president of the Fraternal Order of Police, which represents police officers in Indianapolis and throughout central Indiana, asking, where is the outrage after this weekend's shootings in downtown Indianapolis? Joining us now here to take a closer look, Rick Snyder, the president of the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 69? 86. Got those numbers inverted, but nonetheless, I know who you are. You are not very happy, and you were outraged at the lack of anything today after those shootings.
Well, we had 6 people that were shot in downtown Indianapolis, a total of 10 throughout our city. We had a mass shooting right in the heart of our community, and there was no outcry. And we have been very clear with our, not just our elected leaders, but also our trusted voices in the community in terms of asking, where is the outrage on this? We hear time and again the need for more policing and the police to try and do more in different programs and all those kinds of things, and we agree. But when it comes to times of needing intervention, where's the calls for that and the calls for accountability in terms of the crimes that have occurred here?
So what do you want to see? Because already we are seeing a lot more money being spent on prevention programs, jobs, mentorships, more so this year than I've seen in previous years. So what do you want to see different moving forward?
Hey, we're firm supporters of that. We've invested over $100,000 in just the last year in youth education and crime prevention programs. But here's the deal. When the acts of violence occur, we need a strong law and order intervention component. And we've strayed away from that in our community. We no longer want to talk about enforcing the law and restoring order when the acts occur. We have got to get back to that. Our officers are caught in the middle, and day in and day out, they're arresting people and putting them in jail, but we have a system that's allowing them right back out, a revolving door, and we have a very deficient juvenile justice system. People have said, why are we seeing violence surge within the juveniles in our community? It's because although we're making these investments, we're not balancing that with accountability through intervention, and they know it, and so do the adult criminals. They're putting the juveniles in the middle of this. Reverend Harrison from 10 Point just said today, it's not uncommon now if they see a group of 5 juveniles, all 5 of them are unlawfully carrying firearms. Well, they're seeing what our officers know, that the threat is very real, the dangers are real, and our officers are trying to intervene and keep us safe.
In our last 30 seconds, then what can we do about it? The folks that are sitting at home wondering, well, I feel overwhelmed. What can I do to help you and the city?
They need to demand that their leaders step forward, pound that podium and say that this is unacceptable in our city, and then follow that up by shining the light on the deficiencies in the justice system. And by the way, show strong support for your officers who are out there on the streets and the alleyways and the neighborhoods trying to make a difference, and let them know that we have their backs while they're out there having our backs to keep us safe.
The president of the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 86, a number that I will never forget. Lodge 86. Rick, thank you so much for joining us on the News at 7 with a closer look at this very important issue. In other news today, it is now a waiting game in Puerto Rico as they keep a close eye on this, a potential tropical storm named Karen. And right now the island is in the storm's path, and it could make landfall as early as tomorrow. And even if the storm weakens or shifts, the system would still pose a threat to that Caribbean island. Many people are still living in unstable housing, and the power grid is not fully functioning after last year's devastating Hurricane Maria. Back here at home, as we take a look at our forecast, Kevin Gregory, luckily things have sort of cooled down a little bit. What's in the forecast? I can already see by the graph. High temperatures, are they coming back?
Later in the week, we'll get warm again, but we're redefining warmth as we step all into fall. So our temperatures, even when they get warmer, staying in the mid-80s, maybe a couple degrees above that, but enjoy the next couple of days. And it's not just the temperature, you know, in Indiana. We often say it's not the heat, it's the humidity. In this case, we've wiped out the humidity for a while. Our chance for a shower, thunder shower, that arrives Wednesday. Not a great chance. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we'll keep a low chance for some thunderstorms. They'd be isolated as warmer air returns to central Indiana. Then early next week, warm and dry once again, and that would include the weekend with temperatures starting to surge Sunday. 72 in Muncie. Feels good. 71 in Peru, Miami County. Temperature in Indy's 2 degrees warmer than that. Anywhere in the metro area, falling off into the lower 70s. Now the stage is set for a very comfortable evening and overnight hours with temperatures eventually in the 50s. You see how we've carved out our level of comfort here from the Great Lakes all the way down to the Ohio River. 54 degrees first thing in the morning, depending on when your alarm clock goes off, around 6 a.m. Afternoon temperature by noon 72. As we get to the afternoon, nothing but a few fair weather cumulus clouds pop up. Temperature at 77 or 78. Highs from north to south, mid to upper 70s. Again, 74 is your average temperature at this time of year. Wind will be out of the southwest at about 10 miles per hour. On Wednesday, one change will be the wind. I think we'll see gusts over 20 miles per hour. That will help bump our temperature up to around 80. That isolated shower and thunderstorm chance in the morning hours, no sign of that. We'll be clear with some sunshine. The clouds increase during the day, bringing with it an increasing chance for some showers and thunderstorms. 7-day planner, temperatures do warm up consistently, low to mid 80s as you can see. Saturday's high 83, 84 Sunday up to 87 a week from today. So it's fall, but summer-like temperatures not gone yet.
I'm so happy that you came back from vacation and that you brought cooler temperatures.
For a while.
And that you're here. I mean,
Thank you.
What better thing? When we come back on the news at 7, some awareness involving prostate cancer right here on the news at 7.
Only at Bob's Discount Furniture.
Earlier, we told you how Marion County Prosecutor Terry Curry is resigning from his post. He's battling advanced prostate cancer and working for you tonight on the news at 7. We want to get educated on prostate cancer. So joining me now is Dr. Sandeep Bave, a medical oncologist with Franciscan Health here in Indianapolis. Welcome to the program.
Great to be here.
I'm concerned. I know nothing about prostate cancer. When do I need a checkup? And what is it?
Prostate cancer is a very common form of cancer affecting men. It's in the it's a walnut-shaped gland in our men's private parts. And so when to be worried? You start worrying around the age of 50, but that can change depending on your risk factors for the disease.
And you were telling me this is really about age, so you have to either be 60 or 70 is the prime target of men who get, but also men of color and people who are Asian?
Yes, so interestingly, African American men have a much higher risk of prostate cancer than both white men and Asian men. So for that reason, African American men should discuss with their doctors about screening around the age of 45. And if you have a family history of prostate cancer, it's prudent to talk with your physician about screening around the age of 40.
Is this triggered by smoking or alcohol or my diet? Is there any way that I can either slow this thing down or not have it appear in my body? Prostate cancer.
Reducing your weight, if you're overweight, is always a good idea. And if you're having a high-fat diet, reducing the amount of high fats in your diet can also reduce your risk of prostate cancer.
If I am diagnosed with prostate cancer, what is the outcome? Can that be treated?
In most cases, about 90% of cases, you can treat prostate cancer for a cure, and outcomes are very, very good. And there are many different treatment options for patients, including surgery, radiation therapy, hormonal therapy, or the combination. And in fact, in 40% of patients, they can simply be surveyed and be treated when medically necessary. So for the vast majority of men, they should be seen by their physician for prostate cancer to be cured.
Get checked out, right? Just ask questions when you visit your doctor on that annual checkup. Dr. Sandeep Bave, thank you so much.
Pleasure to be here.
Oncologist, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. The news at 7 continues right after this. Today is the first day of fall, but you can start dreaming of summer again. Not ready for that. In the middle of winter when the Beach Boys, I'm ready for that, when they come right here to Indiana. It was just announced today that the Beach Boys are coming to the new Brown County Music Center in Nashville, in Brown County, on Saturday, February the 29th. And I am sure that on that day we'll be thinking about summer. It's going to be pretty cold, I'm sure, on that day, Kevin Gregory. Tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Daddy will take your T-Bird away long before February 29th, at least if it's a convertible. I was shocked to see this morning, but pleasantly surprised. We had a puddle. You know, we've only had rain on 2 different days this month, so it was nice to see a little evidence of that overnight rain. For the month, we've only had 4/10 of an inch of rain. Next opportunity, that will arrive as we get to Wednesday. Temperatures remain comfortable until we get toward the weekend. Then it'll be a bit warmer.
Kevin G., thank you so much. Amanda and Mark are back with our next newscast tonight at 11. Enjoy your Monday evening.